Welcome to From Hollywood to the Heartland.
From Hollywood to the Heartland.
Where two actors share their journey from Tinseltown to Middle America. Stories and insights about showbiz.
Along with lots of laughter.
It's all right here. Here's your host, veteran podcaster, Beau Tiffany.
All right, Kelly, why don't you just introduce yourself quickly to the few people that we have in the chat.
Okay. Hello. If first off, that promo that y'all made was fantastic, and I hope I can live up to it. But I'm Kelly Wilson. Oh, I practiced that too many times earlier. It's embarrassing. I'm a voice actor, and I've known Connor Quinn for at least 5 years, probably longer. I don't know. But Connor is way cooler than I am, but I'll do my best. So do you want to know the ins and outs? Do you want me to tell you the story?
Not yet.
Or not yet?
And also, Alejandra, she is from Twin Falls, Idaho.
Hey.
She's in the chat.
I know her.
You know her?
I sent her a text message to watch the show. So
Very
woo,
cool. Yeah.
Thanks.
She's in there. Thank you, Alejandra.
Thanks for watching.
I heard there was blackmail involved or threats.
I paid her.
Okay.
I just paid her money. Yeah, like
Least resistance.
actual money.
You Venmo'd her.
Yeah, I can do Venmo now.
That's because you are cool. You're
No.
cool like that.
I am not cool at all. But I try. But I feel free to when you did the promo, you mentioned neurodiversity, and I have ADHD. So if I'm bouncing around a lot, that's normal, and I'm trying to not move. And if I bounce around a lot via story, that's also normal. But I'm trying. Anyways, speaking of story,
fine.
do you want me to keep talking about myself?
Wait, butterfly. No. I also have
Oh, sparkly object.
Yeah.
Okay, so
wait.
you get it. Okay, so yeah,
We're
we'll be fine.
birds of a feather here.
We'll be
Absolutely.
we'll work well together.
We are all on the island of misfit toys.
Yeah. We got 3 minutes to the countdown. Any questions or
Oh,
anything?
are there any rules?
No.
We are kid-friendly, mother approved.
Okay.
Try not to tick anybody off, but Connor has
Okay, I'll let Connor do that. Got it.
editing.
Makes sense.
Oh, thanks.
I'll just blame it on him. Okay, cool.
No, it's pretty easy going. Anything, the thing I think is the most interesting are the stories that you gain along the way. Those nuggets of
Sure.
insight are always good, but you sprinkle those with the stories along with it, and it makes it super interesting and something that people can relate to. So that's
Sure.
the fun thing about what we've been doing, and our numbers are growing crazy. I think we're over 8,000 now, Connor.
Yeah, Connor
My
was
goodness.
sorry, I'm trying to get the lighting correct in here.
This is
There we go.
5 too, so not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, I was talking to Connor, was that last night? He was
Yeah, last
mentioning
night.
just how your numbers were, where you started, where you are now, and that's really cool. So congrats. That's
Thanks. Well,
that's awesome.
It is. It
hard.
really is awesome.
It's
Yes.
the stories. The thing that's fun about this is that Hollywood always had that stigma, like it was some untouchable thing,
Mhm.
some far away land.
Beau, you might bump up your volume a little bit. You're a little bit low volume.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Much better. Mucho, much better.
Mucho gracias. Thank you.
I was telling Alejandra, she was saying hola, and I told her that Kelly taught me how to say my name in Spanish, which is mi nombre es bastardo. And she just laughed. Apparently that's not how I say my name in Spanish, so I
took French, so
Oh, that's not gonna
only
help at all.
because I can't speak it, so don't ask. Only because the French or the Spanish class was full, which I was from Florida, so yeah.
That's how that translated. Okay.
I'm still sad, but anyways.
Well, it's that golden minute of the 7 o'clock hour. So let's get this ball rolling.
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of From Hollywood to the Heartland. This is Beau Tiffany, your host, along with Connor Quinn and our special guest today, Kelly Wilson. Kelly, hi.
Hey, thank you. Hi, thanks for having me. I'm
Hi.
really excited to be here.
Well, we're totally
Awesome.
excited to have you. For the listeners, Anthony is
Oh,
actually at the Reagan premiere, enjoying the red carpet. He actually had a speaking line, and he got to go and enjoy the
that's
premiere.
cool.
And so he'll be sharing some of those stories next week. But this
Oh,
week,
very
filling
cool.
in, yeah, we got Kelly, and Kelly comes with a plethora of stories of her own, along with some
She
insight into
does.
the industry.
Hey,
Connor,
Bo,
Yes.
what's up?
your microphone is still, it's sounding kind of like in and out a little bit, kind of not cutting in and out, but it just sounds like it's still kind of far away.
Fair enough. Is that better?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Check.
that is better. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
Gotta love
So
those technical issues.
our live audience will know that this is probably be a cut in our future recording.
So yeah, I'll should I talk about myself now?
Well, actually, I was going to have Connor set it up since you guys are
Oh,
friends
okay.
and he knows you so well. Connor, why don't you give Kelly the intro she deserves?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. Kelly and I went to different high schools together once upon a, no, I'm kidding. Um,
I don't know.
we
I mean,
um we met, can we say, I think it was through Push Button, right? That was how we met.
maybe.
I
I think so. And then they talked to trash about me. No.
No,
And
no, no,
then
they love
you
you.
reached out. I think that's how
I
it
think that's
came to
exactly
be.
how, yeah, she was still in Idaho at the time, and
Mm,
she's just an incredibly talented person, and I just love her energy. I love her voices and her range, and she treats her clients like gold. And I just thought you would be so advantageous to have on the web, on the podcast, because so many people who are starting out there is here from Hollywood to the Heartland. Even though you were technically not the Heartland, you were not in Hollywood, you were not in New York. Uh, you were in Florida for a while, you were in Idaho
mhm.
for a while, but you have made a very successful career. You've carved out a niche for yourself. And I think, everyone just wants to know more about your story. And that's what we'll get into, is how you were able to do that for yourself. But introducing you, I think we met through a company called Push Button Productions out of Florida, out of
Yeah.
Orlando.
Hmm.
Just incredibly great. And you went to college with them as well, right?
Yeah, the owners uh Yash and John.
John, right?
I went to college with Yash, and John was already graduated from University of Florida in Gainesville, and he was my boss. And the first time I met John, I was may have been under the weather from consuming too many adult
Mm,
beverages, if my
okay.
children are watching.
Yeah, yeah.
And I called him Ron instead of John, and it was like the worst first impression ever. Um, but now we're cool. So I'm sorry, John. And I think he
That's
gave me crap
awesome.
for that for a very long time. But I yeah, I kind of cut my teeth, if you will, just learning about voiceover and copywriting and just working in advertising, because Push Button Productions started in Gainesville, Florida. They're a ad agency. They were a startup. I got to like intern with them and then actually work with them like on a part-time basis after college. Um, kind of doing a little bit of everything, which was frightening. Like I think they even had me do cold calling, which
Oh my gosh, yeah,
was a
right.
bad idea, guys. They probably had me stop because it probably wasn't good for business.
Well, no matter what it
But it was
is, you
cool.
found your niche. You totally found your wheelhouse, which is voiceover. And
Yeah.
so you moved out of Florida eventually, and you were in Idaho when I, met you,
Hmm.
virtually, basically, by phone.
Right.
And we've shared, similar clients together. We've worked on projects together. We've talked
Yeah.
on, social media together. And so talking with Beau and then also with Anthony, who, like we say, is at a Hollywood premiere tonight in
Hmm.
Edmond, Oklahoma, of all places. Uh, we were
Cool.
talking and thought that you would be just great to share your story and just to kind of help people, our listeners, just kind of get a handle on, what voiceover is and isn't. Yeah, I'm sure you've
Sure.
met with things that you didn't think were true and other things that are true. And um, for those questions and all that to dig deeper in. I'll have Beau ask your first question.
Okay.
Well, first of all, where are you from? And let me get my phone to shut up because it is going off. I apologize.
Well, I'm a Floridian. I'm sure you can tell by the amazing tan I have.
Right.
I was actually born in Dunedin, Florida. My husband calls it Dunedin. That is not correct. He thinks he's hilarious. Whatever, he's a nerd, I'm into it, so it's fine. So born in Dunedin, Florida. Lived in Tampa area, Newport Richey, if anyone knows that area. Hey, NPR.
Hey.
Hey yo, the Gulf Coast. And lived in Florida for about 25 years, and lived in Gainesville, Florida for a little bit. Kind of worked while I was actually in Florida, worked in like Tampa, St. Pete, Largo, or never mind, we won't say, my children are watching. And Gainesville and kind of that vicinity, that area, and then applied through my career. Just I was a radio DJ for a long time, and applied anywhere and everywhere, and Twin Falls, Idaho, actually called me back after I sent them the resume. If anyone's looking for a job right now, you can. It was so much fun. You send out so many resumes, you get a call back, and you're like, "Where are you? Who are you?" And that's how I ended up in Twin Falls. And
Wow.
I'm not in Idaho anymore. I'm actually in. This February will be 3 years. I'm in Shelton, Washington, which is just outside of Olympia. But if since I work with clients all over the world, they might not know where that is, so I just say Seattle.
Now, my understanding is you got your introduction to before you ever got even gotten to broadcast. The excitement of holding a mic came from karaoke. Is this what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I don't. So I'll age myself, but do you remember? Maybe they still sell them. It's just a box. It's just a square, a rectangle. Let me get the right shape. And it's a karaoke machine, a little standalone karaoke machine. It was just
Yeah.
and it had these knobs, which I'm all over the buttons, and it had a microphone. And you could do echo and all this stuff, and you could turn it up and gain. There was like a gain. So I guess that was like my first soundboard, or uh, and I got it when I was, I don't know, maybe eight-ish, 8, 10, something in there. And
Right.
I was always listening to the radio, pushing all the buttons. I broke our VCR when I was a kid because I pushed all the buttons. But so they finally they got me a karaoke machine, and Whitney Houston was, I Want to Dance with Somebody, that came out,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't spin around, but and MTV just came out, so I was like all
Good
about it. And,
times.
and obviously I sounded really good. My poor parents,
Uh,
jeez.
One
Ugh.
reason I bring that up, Kelly, is that I similarly got into
Yes.
what I do because of karaoke and working with the equipment.
that's
And
right.
yeah, that was my
Cool.
stepping stone, if you will, into broadcast and what I do now. So I
Wow.
thought it was interesting that you had that karaoke connection.
Totally.
That's
Um,
cool.
Tell me about
Kelly,
your first commercial. Or sorry,
yes.
I didn't
Oh,
mean to step on you. Go ahead, Connor.
oh.
No, no, no. I was going to ask the very same. What started it for you? What was the very first thing you did?
So I just through college and school, I attended St. Pete College, because I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And toward the end of like my 2 years there, my advisor set me up with someone to go and tour a radio station. And it was another student who was like interning there, right? So we do the tour. There's lights flashing, there's buttons, there's knobs, there's it's like the coolest thing ever, and I'm trying to act like, be cool, don't talk when other people are talking. I'm trying to like be
Right.
professional and stuff. I'm 18, so I'm like, and it was fantastic. And the tour is over, and I'm like, thank you so much for your time. This was so cool. And professional pants. And as I'm leaving, the guy who gave the tour, his name is Mike Serio. He was the creative services director at CBS Radio in Tampa, St. Pete. And he was like, he said, I really like your voice, which no one ever said that. Like when I had the karaoke machine, it was just like, Kelly, stop. Just like no one had ever said anything positive about my voice before, you know. It was usually
Wow.
just shut up, stop
Right.
talking. Um, uh, so he said, one, I really like your voice. Would you like to be my intern this summer? And I was just like, what? And of course, I said yes. It was like the coolest thing ever. I was 18, so it was like, oh. So I interned at a radio station before I transferred to the University of Florida, and through that internship, I got to actually voice a commercial, which was like, um, a, again, the coolest thing ever. And it was like a Bluebell ice cream commercial, and this was
I,
like, you know, what I'm talking about. Yeah,
yeah, with a million tags on the end of it, I'm sure, right?
yeah, and it was like, try the creamy, delicious whatever at, at Fred, there probably wasn't even a Fred Meyer or whatever grocery store,
Safeway.
Albertsons. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to voice it in this certain amount of time, and I had to like hit the word chocolate the right way, and I probably sounded like garbage. I
No.
probably have it somewhere, but I hope I never find it. Um, but so one, it was just the coolest thing ever, and I was
Right.
hooked. Also, there was free samples of Bluebell ice cream because this
Oh,
was radio. So I was like,
yeah,
can
you're
I
finding out
eat?
the perks of
I'm like, I
voiceover
love
right away.
radio. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, true.
And I first I just thought, oh, this is radio. Like this is what it's like, and
Hmm.
it can be. And I I remember I went home and I think I asked the traffic director, like, when is this ad gonna air? Like,
Just
um,
asking for a friend.
just wondering. And I went home and I found, actual tape, or maybe it was like some sort of recording device. And I just recorded like an hours long of audio just to hear myself. And then I went back and like scrubbed the audio and edited it and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Um, which is really nerdy, but super cool at the time. And I was just hooked. It was just I was in love.
That is so amazing.
I get yeah, and yeah,
Love
Yeah.
it.
memories.
I love the energy you bring to this. This is great.
Well, I'm having like a flat, this preparing for this interview. I tried to think back. I'm like, think back on your career, so just so I could, it's hard to remember things, and it's kind of getting me re-energized, re-pumped up. So thank you.
Cool. So we have a question from Alejandra,
Okay.
is watching us live. And she's wanting to know, how do you master the different voice styles? For example, a voice that, sounds scary or sensual, etc. Is there a technique,
Mm.
or is it just your amazing gift? That's a great question.
Great.
I'm
So
just I'm
yeah.
just born with it. I'm just that amazing. No. Uh since I started talking first, I'm sorry, I'll answer. Thanks for the question. I paid her. I didn't pay her, but I should. Um
You are now. Yeah.
I have to now.
Yeah.
Practice, I would just say practice, and just for me, I put myself in the position of the person, and then how do I cry? What does my ugly cry face look like? What do I sound like when I have the ugly cry face? And I just try to,
Oh,
I
that's great.
practice,
Yeah.
I practice. It's not good. The ugly cry face, it's bad. Um, it's not good. Practice and just uh, imagining the emotion, and then just keep trying. But I
So
can't land
yeah,
sexy voices. So
Well, real quick,
those are great characters, and that's what, but
not to
do
step
you
on
find
it.
most of what you do is commercial work, or do you do mainly character driven work? What is your main thing in
uh,
in voiceover?
when I first started out, it was actually more cartoons, which is funny, which are still fun, but I tend to just be hired for corporate videos and
Hmm.
commercials, and probably because those two things, more so the corporate videos, they want to hire me for like my sweet spot, which
Hmm.
I'm okay with that if it pays the bills. And that's just I tend to be able to sound like a real person because I am, and I've practiced the to get rid of the announcer-ness out of
Oh, so
myself.
that's what I need to do. I need to be a real person.
Step
Oh,
one.
yeah, I'm already beyond that. So yeah, it's like I think a lot of people, probably someone that's listening now, or in the future, uh, a lot of people have dreams of I'm going to be a voice artist. I'm going to start out and be the voice of Snow White or someone. It's like, you know,
Definitely.
yeah, there's a lot of people that that make their income, and I was one of them. One of
Mhm.
my very first was for Disney. I was lucky at 6 years
It's
old, but
awesome.
that is so not the case. As what it usually happens is that you're given whatever you're given, and that's how you build your career. And
Sure.
commercials and voiceovers and corporate narrations, not always the most exciting thing, but they do pay the bills until you can get something. If you're wanting to do more animation,
Mhm.
people can move that way. What I like about what you're saying, and it's similar to mine, is that you kind of gravitate. I just love the idea of doing voiceover, period. And whether it's the voice of a fox or the voice of
Mhm.
whatever Prince Charming, or maybe it's for the Colgate team, whatever it is.
I'm down for
Uh,
that.
yeah, I enjoy doing voiceover, and so I think the key
Uh,
takeaway for a lot of people maybe just accept what you get and be grateful for that and work towards your end goals. What was your main goals in voiceover? Did you have something in particular that you were shooting for, or maybe you still are shooting for?
um, when I first started, it was just let's do more of this. This is fun. This is cool. They're paying me money. Oh my gosh. They're paying me money and it's fun and it's challenging, which I think is my sweet spot. It can't be too easy, or else it's not fun. But
Right.
first it was just how much like let me just do as many as I can. Let me just try everything. And then eventually it was, I want to go full time. I started out part time, just side hustling, and then it was like, okay, let me focus on corporate videos and commercials because I they hire me and the check clears and they keep coming back, which is always like okay, I must be doing something right. And so just to try to make as much money as I could to replace my full-time income. And then once I was able to, that's uh in 2019. In 2019, when my second kiddo was born, I went full-time voiceover. And then, COVID happened and all that fun stuff.
Right.
But
Can I jump in real quick?
yeah.
So one of the things that you had talked about, and I just want to bring us back, is we were talking a little bit about like developing the voice. And I wanted to ask because it sounded to me like you developed the character versus the voice. Like you were talking about your sad cry and your happy cry and developing those characteristic features. Is that how you approach your development of voice?
Oh, yeah. Uh, if it's a more so if it's a character that's not my normal go-to, I guess. When I first started, I and through working with Push Button Productions, one of the first basically John said, "Hey, you can do a kid voice." And I said, "I can." And I was probably a lot sassier, hungover or something. I was like, what? Because I was, too young. But I didn't hear it, I didn't know it. Somehow he did, and it was a kid voice slash a squirrel, and the squirrel was, a squirrel, caffeinated,
Well, let's hear it.
distracted. Oh crap. Okay. So I'm just a crazy mixed up squirrel. Hi, I'm Pester, the crazy squirrel. And yeah.
Yes. Love
And
it.
there's it's and from that and the I'm just a crazy mix up squirrel, that's my I forgot what that's called, but that's like the sentence I either say in my head or say out loud to get
Right.
into that character.
So what do you call
Um
that? I've talked about this technique right here on the podcast, but I have a very similar thing to get into multiple characters, and a lot of times I don't say it out loud. I just say it, in my head. Do you have a name for it, or I don't know what to call it?
I've heard I'm sure there's a the proper acting etiquette
Right.
name, but I don't remember. But I've heard it from like just voice coaches that I've worked
Hmm.
with, or just like other podcasts that I've listened to.
Right.
And I think that's where I came up with the don't think about the voice per se, think about the character and then build the voice. Like,
Absolutely.
uh, is and Pester the Squirrel's caffeinated, so I kind of squeeze because when I'm overtly caffeinated, which I don't do as often because I'm an adult now, but I'm like I'm tensed, I'm like I'm on my toes, so it's almost if I'm building the character, it's almost a physical thing. I mean, maybe I'll like sketch out the characteristics because I can't draw, but I almost like feel what they feel
Mhm.
through my body, I guess, and then
Right.
it
Right.
just comes out sometimes.
Does that
That is so
resonate
cool.
with you too, Connor? Is that how you go about your voices?
Completely. Yep, it sure is.
Okay.
It's like for the longest time, when I studied with Dawes Butler, Dawes was, the king of Hanna-Barbera. He did, Yogi Bear and Huckleberry Hound and Elroy Jetson and on and on and on. And, when I was a kid, 16 or so, I couldn't afford him. But he let me study with
Mm,
him and said, pay when you can. And I just remember him always not really being mad at me, but upset with me because I kept referring to him as voices, and he said they're characters. And
mm,
he kept driving that into all of us students, you know, uh, as well as
mm,
Nancy Cartwright, who's the voice of Bart Simpson. She also studied with Dawes. A lot of us, you know, graduated from Dawes, and he was right. They are characters. And, you had to think about other attributes. For example, he knew what Yogi Bear's favorite color was. He knew what Yogi Bear
mm,
had for lunch and dinner. And
mm,
he knew what he was worried about. And, he had this whole backstory in his mind written out for who Yogi Bear was, who Elroy Judson was, who Huckleberry Hound was. And so I do the exact same thing when, even if it's a small character in a commercial, I try to think of what's the backstory of this guy.
Mm.
Uh, and
yeah.
also another thing if you're, an actor listening, one of the things that helps me visualize in my mind of who this character is, you can figure out what type of body shape they have, what their size is. All of that kind of adds attributes to their voice. And
Hmm.
when it finally
Mm,
comes down to it, I imagine what kind of costume, especially hat, are they wearing. So for me, that
mm,
that tells me a lot about the character of what type of a hat or no hat that they would wear, what costume
mm,
that they're wearing, the shape of their mouth, how large of a character they are. So yeah, good stuff, Kelly. I mean, that's
mm,
absolutely what I do. You know, getting into character, even if I'm not, I do a lot of sound like natural people, but I do other voiceover artists. I get called in a lot of voiceovers who have passed on. Those voices aren't
mm,
with us anymore. So a
yeah.
lot of times I get called to replicate, like a Don Pardo or various talents in the past. So doing an
Mm,
imitation is one thing, but just trying to get the sound of their voice, of what the just the essence of it, just to
mhm.
read. It's a hard thing to describe. It really is.
Yeah. I'll throw in one other thing, just to add. When I was pregnant and voicing, I
Hmm.
remember I worked with someone before I was pregnant, and then they had me come back and like redo another ad or add on additional line. They're like, your voice sounds a little different. And because I had all that weight, and they could hear it. So they called me out, and I made some adjustments physically. I just picked up my prego belly and just kind of like uh adjusted, and it relieved some pressure off of my diaphragm, and I was able to not sound so deep. Poor kid. But just those physical, I don't know, that was a time where not during the session because I was like, oh no, must do the session correctly. But when I
Right.
reflected, I was like, oh yeah, the physicality of the voice, it does
It adds
uh
to it. It
adds to it.
enhances it. It sure
Yeah,
does. Yeah.
it's cool.
Let
We
me
got
ask
another
a question.
go. Whoops, go ahead.
I was just going to toss this into the next part of our cast. So one of the things we were going to cover is what do you find to be the hardest part of voiceover?
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
Operating alone oftentimes, and another reason that I'm excited to talk to adults. Please don't talk, let's not talk about Minecraft unless Minecraft wants me to voice something for them, then I will talk about it all
Oh,
day long.
is that a
But
suggestion? Okay.
Heyo, but and I only mentioned that because it's summer here where I'm at, and my kids are around and they're playing Minecraft 24/7. We take
Right.
breaks. I'm not a bad parent.
Yeah.
But just the I I'm in, you can't see, thank goodness, because it's not clean in here. But I'm outside of my vocal booth, but I'm in an office that is like my she shed, an outdoor it's an
Hmm.
outdoor office, which is fantastic, and I'm thankful and lucky to have it. And I've worked really hard to get this.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
have.
sometimes, yeah, I have
No, you
not
did. When I first met
sleeping.
you, yeah, when I first met you in Twin Falls, you didn't have that stuff yet. So I was
Yeah.
really proud, when you went
Yeah.
to Washington and you showed for the first time that booth, the she shed, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
and you have earned it. So for
That's
those that are
cool.
not really familiar with voice work, it's like our booths are like our second home because I sit in a dark room and talk to myself. That's
And it
what I
feels,
do.
and it's fun, and it feels good to work in here.
Yes.
And I can focus in here. But being just operating alone and just being alone without a team, and I
Mm,
do really miss kind of having a team. But sometimes I don't.
right.
But just not having other humans to interact with, because I'm not a big fan of cold calling, but I was almost ready to do that. And when you do connect with if you do a session or something, I don't want to be that guy who's like, "Hey, what's going on? Where are you at? Where's the way?"
Yeah.
When you do a session, it's time to work.
Yeah.
Time is
Yeah,
money, and I don't want to waste their
yeah, it's
time.
not social.
Connor, you
Sure.
talk about wearing hats or a lot of different hats. So I hear
Mm.
a lot of you coming out of Kelly right now.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that's why
I take that as a
we definitely
compliment.
yeah, thank you. I think. No, I think that's why we relate to each other so well is because we have a lot of similar work processes and stuff we've shared over the years, our marketing strategies and just it's interesting because we've been paired. When I've been talking to a mutual client of hers, they will also say the same thing. That we're both easy to work with, and the client's time is the most important time. So our
Sure.
work ethic is to keep that client happy for our middle client, which is the video production company we're working for. And if so,
Mhm.
then hopefully they'll invite us back so we can do another session. And so yeah, I
Mhm.
do see a lot of myself. I'm probably 89, maybe 90 years older than Kelly. So it's like we didn't really grow up at the same time. But I do see a lot of, my work ethics and stuff in her, and I'm glad to see that she's carrying that forward. And it shows. And this is why if you're a struggling actor or thinking about getting into voice acting or anything like that, she's a working example to show you that diligence and really putting other people first is what really rules the day. I mean, you've got to have talent in spades. You need to have that in your back pocket. But you also have to be a kind person and you have to really know how to work with people and be sociable. And, for someone like me, that's not easy. It's like a lot of actors are not the most sociable people. And it's an act. It's like, putting on an act and people say, "Oh, you must be
Mhm.
fun at parties," or it's like I'm so awkward. It's like I
Same.
really, when I'm right here in front of my microphone, I feel okay. But going to a party and having to, do something or, hey, perform, it's tough. It's really
Dance
tough.
monkey.
Right. And going back to
That's what
the,
it feels like.
to
Mm.
YouTube, we got a question here from Alejandra. She says, have you ever found yourself in your daily life using a voice character other than yours? That's a great question.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I've like the first thing that I could think of is if I go to my kid's school, meet with the principal, all good things. Uh, I try to put on my serious, concerned mom voice or hat or character or what
Yes,
have you,
the
and
soccer
not
mom.
be like, what's up, dude, and like chest bump, because
Totally
maybe that's
righteous. Yeah, that's funny.
yeah, because maybe I'm not chest bumping people, but I tend to be my true self is very unprofessional and laid back and oversharey. So I think voiceover has helped me, like when I've had day jobs, be like, okay, mask up. You are now in a professional setting. You are this professional character, what yada yada,
Right, right, right.
and when you're scared to present something, you kind of pull from the
Mm-hmm.
okay, step
Yeah,
out of your own self and just I'm the professional
right.
character, so sound like you
So
know what you're
isn't
talking
it
about.
funny that, like, my agent, one of her lines for me is like, some of the biggest, most trusted brands have turned to Connor to tell their story. Let him tell your story. So what's interesting is that we're so comfortable telling other people's stories that when it comes to ourselves, sometimes it's
Bye.
like, yeah, yeah, don't want to do that. But let me talk about
Hmm.
Crest or,
Sure.
William Salt or, whatever we're talking about.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's like, even this voice here that I talk in is not real. It's a voice that I've concocted that I think that people think that a voiceover would sound like. Um, my real voice probably just, people that know me intimately probably hear my real voice, but even this voice has a little bit of a jacket on it or a little bit of, you know, has a ring on it or something, it's a
So
little
yeah,
dressed up, right? And
it's yeah.
yeah, because in my studio when I'm really, pouring out the love and,
Hmm.
things, when I answer it and someone says, "Can I speak with Connor Quinn?" I say, "Speaking." They sound so damn disappointed. They're like, "Oh,
Please
Jesus. So
hold.
you're you're Connor?" It's like, "Yeah, you sound like a truck driver or a CPA." I mean, it's like, the
One
hell's wrong with
moment,
you?
let me
An
transfer you.
accountant.
Right, right. I go, "Hello, this is Connor Quinn, the actor." You know, I don't know what they expect, but there's some guys and ladies in voiceover that their voice, what you hear is actually what you get. But I utilitarian voiceover. So they cast me to be whatever they can't cast. I usually play that guy and or
Hmm.
just an odd voice that isn't fitting in, the screwball voice. They'll have me come in and do a strange read on it or maybe a voice that most people don't do is you know or it's just the gregarious over the top, you know, the new hamburger helper, the really big voices, it's like which nobody really talks that way. But
Please narrate my life.
right, thank you, Kelly Wilson.
Everything I do will
Right.
sound epic.
Kelly, did
It's
you know, like as a child, Connor used to record the commercials and then listen back to them. So as a young child, can you picture Mr.
Just the
Connor Quinn?
commercials?
Yeah, just the commercial.
yes, I was
I
such a
can see that.
nerd. Yeah, I
Wow.
But
was
the thing that's cool about
Huh.
that is that as you just identified, there's different styles of voiceover. And so,
completely
and you
right.
can recognize and hit upon those as a style within your collection. Kelly, let me
True.
toss this to you. Do you have that ability as well?
Uh,
Yes,
a
yes, she
a little
does.
bit.
Yeah, you do.
Um,
She
Probably.
does.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yes.
There we go. That's a
Yes,
girl.
I
W-
do.
Were you recording commercials at 5?
Um, when I was a kid, I listened to the radio a lot and I knew the words to every single song that was
And I
like
bet
top
you
40
recorded. Yeah,
songs.
you were waiting for Casey to say, "Yeah, here
Um,
they are." Da 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 da, and then you would let the tape roll so that you could get the latest, you know, Bengal song or whatever you were listening to at the time. I'm 90 years older than
Walk
you, so
like an Egyptian.
there you go. Thank you.
Anyways, um, I mean, I probably knew all the jingles to all the
Oh my God.
commercials.
Love
Um,
jingles. Thank you.
so, I couldn't remember, I couldn't like solve my math problem, but I could remember a line from a movie or something like that. Whether it would be a rhyme of the movie, like if the line of the movie it like rhymed or it sounded pretty in my ear like a song or something,
Right.
or if it was just overtly funny or not appropriate. I was that kid. So
So Connor,
so
you weren't
yeah.
alone, buddy. You weren't alone.
That's good to know. Yeah, because I had, even if you go to my car now, it's like you're not going to find it's my phone, and predominantly what's on my playlist on the player on my phone are nothing but voices, voices that I'm studying. So people will get into me
Hmm.
thinking they're going to be listening to Cool in the Gang, and they're going to be hearing probably a Pepsodent commercial from 1965, and they're going to be then hearing a Budweiser ad from 1978, and that's the stuff I listen to, and I listen
Hmm.
to it going to sleep. There's really
Cool.
something strange about me that
Hmm.
there's not been a
Yeah,
medicine
but it's so
paper for it.
cool at the same
That's
time.
interesting.
How you
Yeah.
utilize that comes out in so many
Hmm.
unique
Yeah,
ways.
it's just, it's like learning. Like, one of the guys I
Hmm.
was just obsessed with was a guy named Hal Douglas, and
Hmm.
when I was a younger guy, I went and studied with, he was like a mentor of mine as well. So I went and studied on his farm, like in
Cool.
Vermont. And uh, he was like Don LaFontaine. He did a lot of movie trailers, but Don was the, in a world, that guy with all the adventure stuff. And
Hmm.
I love Don's voice. And I have a story sometime I'll share about Don LaFontaine. It's a great story. But
You're gonna hold out on Kelly?
what's that?
So you're gonna hold out on Kelly?
Well, no, not necessarily, but I just wanted to finish my point. Here's
Oh,
this
my
how,
bad.
and
Squirrel.
it's her hour, not mine.
Butterfly.
So with Hal, his voice was I just loved his voice because he had a more quieter way of doing things. And so he was also the inner world guy, but they would usually have him do the rom-coms.
Mm.
And so,
Okay.
Don would be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hal Douglas would be like, you know, Michael Keaton and Diane Cannon star in a brand new Herbie Goes Nowhere. You know, that type of thing. So I fell in love with his voice. So
Uh,
when it came time for them, they were asking me to do Harry Potter's trailers. That's what the voice I did. In a world gone desperately wrong. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone begins Friday, November 23rd at a
hmm.
theater near you. It just
I'm in love.
it just I was too. I really loved his voice, and
Woo!
I really couldn't play with it
Hmm.
while he was alive and when he passed, unfortunately, but
Hmm.
there was a need for that voice still in my mind somewhere. And every now and then when I pull
Sure.
that out, people are like, "Oh yeah, that voice. God, we miss that voice." There is no
Hmm.
one really doing that. And then
You
at
know
the
who
same
else I
time, then you'd
miss?
have what's that?
So you know who else I miss that you do?
Oh no, no, who's that?
Phil Hartman.
Hmm.
Bill Hardman. You think I just stepped in a big pile of sassy.
That-
You might recognize me. I'm Troy McClure from such films as Cry Yuma and Red Paint. Yummy. Phil
uh,
Phil was a wonderful, talent that we dearly miss. Absolutely. Yeah, I just love the world of sounds
mm,
and voiceovers and jingles. I mean, like
hmm.
you memorizing jingles, it's just I was
They
right
get
there.
earworms. They're just
Oh
in
my,
there.
I would rather have an album of jingles than, all of the original LPs of the Beatles. I mean, that's how important jingles are to me. That's sad, I know,
Huh.
but
Yeah.
it is. It is what it is. Makes me talk like Phil Hartman again.
And you actually do
Hmm.
really good jingles. You created our From Hollywood to the Heartland promos that has some amazing AI voices. And either that or you were hitting notes that I didn't think were possible out of you.
Well, yeah, it was tough to hit those notes, and I did it in the comfort of my own studio, and that's all I have to say on that.
Cool. I'm gonna start
Conversely, you
doing what
were
you do.
We want Kelly to come back quick.
right. We do. You were Kelly. you were in Alachua County, which you were in Gainesville, and the
Alachua.
worst. Uh,
Sorry.
is Alachua is the name of the city or the county?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think
Whatever.
that was they said it. I heard Alachua and Alachua.
So I think
Like
Alachua is
I
the
don't
name of
know.
the county. Alachua is the name of the city, I
Oh,
believe. But whatever.
I don't know.
You were there. The worst jingle in the world is for the Alachua County Fair.
Oh my God. Yes. You know it's yeah. I want it's
Let's
in
hear
my
it.
head now.
I
I
can't do
I'm
it. I,
I'm
you
trying
know,
really hard not to sing it.
it is the
It's
worst. The
Ellie.
Alachua County Fair. We're going to the fair. The
welcome to
Alachua.
the
I mean, it's
fair. Like, and it
horrible.
just keeps going.
Oh, for five.
It's oh,
Right
you
now
only
on the
have to hear it
Midway, there's
once.
B.J. Thomas, and you can hear the Beatles, and and she's
The
the Alachua
Electro
County
County
Fair, and
Fair.
there's these
Welcome
whistles,
to
and
the fair. Yeah,
it's like
it's
her and three guys from a frat somewhere. It's horrible. It's absolutely friggin' horrible.
good times.
Yeah, thank you. I'll have another Coors. Thank you so
Uh,
much.
that was a good
Spring
college was
breaks are
fun.
never the same.
That
Welcome to the fair. Now it's stuck in my head
no,
forever.
it
I'm
is. I
gonna
thank you.
ugh.
So, what are some of the milestones that you'd like to hit? Maybe you've already hit them. I
Oh
know getting your vocal booth was a big deal, and going full
yeah,
time. I remember that was a big thing for you as well because you have a family, and you and I had to talk about that. About you were at that position where I know a lot of people are. It's like, what do I do now? I have a family. My husband is working full time. Do I leave a job that I know
right.
or taking a chance on voiceovers where there's no guarantee of anything? I
Hmm.
remember that was a big role for you. It was hard to talk you through that, and I couldn't be in your place because you have a family and to take care of, but you
Sure.
obviously made the right choice, and so I'm sure there's many other milestones. I'd just like to find out what they are for you.
Yeah, and thanks for letting
Well,
me
checks in the
talk
mail.
to you about that.
Hmm.
I'm sure it was many times where I'm like, I want to go full time.
Well,
Where?
you
Why
you
can't
owe
I do
me
it
and
yet?
Alejandro. You
Meh.
you owe us money by the way.
All my money
Yeah,
to sell
thank
my
you,
microphones.
thank you.
And going full time, being able to buy my booth, which is right there, which is why I'm pointing. Can't you see it? And
Yeah,
being able to buy what I call my forever microphone, my Neumann U87.
U87. Thank
Oh,
you.
that I sleep with underneath my pillow. I hold
Well,
it
I
like a
do.
baby. Um, and so those were some of the things that I'm like, gotta do that. But now, and I'm kind of in this period of you know, we moved, so I just turned a certain age that where you start like, having midlife crises. So
One, I hear that.
I feel like I'm almost in this like rebuild, reassess mode. But
Mm.
I would love to actually stick with my marketing plan. I mean, I always, you have a plan, and if you
Hmm.
have children, or maybe it's just life in general. You have this plan, and then the plan gets lit on fire, and something happens, and who knows where that plan went. But I'd actually like to be just more consistent and hashtag ADHD. It's always the thing I'm working on. But also just break the six-figure mark of a voice actor. And the older I get, the more I'm like, making $100,000 isn't really a lot of money when groceries are super expensive and the kids keep eating all the Cheerios and the pizza rolls, for goodness sakes. But I'd like to be able to bill to hit that mark, and I was getting close to it. But
Mm.
then I moved, and moving kind of shuffles everything, and I'm getting back into it.
Good.
Um,
Okay.
I'd love to. I have an agent, which I've had for 2, 3 years now, which
Yeah.
woohoo, which is super cool. Heyman Talent Agency, you can contact them if you
Who
want. They're
I'm also
fantastic.
with. Yeah. Shout out to the wonderful
Ayo.
people and the team at Heyman. Yep.
And I would love. I mean, I audition all the time. I would love to actually book a job, and it really doesn't matter what it is, but that would just be kind of like a personal,
Yeah.
feather in the cap. Do people still say that? I would love
You
to
just
voice a
did.
Super Bowl ad. I just did. When I voice a Super Bowl ad, I'm going
Yeah.
to purchase
Thank you.
t-shirts and That's I don't know what the t-shirt is, but it's gonna be like I maybe it's a picture of me doing like the double guns and like I don't know, a commercial I voiced or something. And I'm gonna hand it out to my family. And that
That's
would just
me
be
on Snickers.
eating it with like chocolate all over
Right.
my face.
Chocolate. Yeah. Come
Urgh.
on.
Oh, I would love that.
Come
I
on, baby.
gosh, I want a Snickers now. Um
See, it's
I
just the
love you,
way I said.
Snickers.
Well, the reason
Does
I said
Snickers
that
have a
is
number?
I don't know if they do. I was the voice of Snickers in
Oh,
the 90s. There you go.
hey, oh,
I was one
let's
of the
Thank you
mark.
for
guys
the notes.
packed with peanuts. Snickers really satisfies. There you go. That's
Nice.
all I said for the longest time.
I love you. I mean, what? This got weird. And I'll just I would love to be the voice of like an airport or a train or some sort of mode of transportation when you're going through. And it'd be even cooler if my kids were there and they were like, please stand back. And like, because I'm like Uber mom, like, be careful. And it would just be
Ooh,
super annoying to them. And I just love annoying them.
you just love
Or
annoying every story on the almost every day I hear something. Hey, we've got Danielle Crawford in the room, and she's asking a question. She says, Kelly, do you tutor others wanting to be voice actors? I have a daughter and is interested in learning. She's interested in learning. So, uh,
well,
any advice or any reply to that?
I don't. I've talked to people like through the phone just to talk to another kind of like what we're doing now.
Right.
And I've talked to middle school and high school classes, which was kind of cool because I honestly didn't know voiceover was a thing until I knew it was a thing. Until I experienced it. It's like one of these jobs you didn't know existed
Mm.
or were out there. So uh if your kiddo if you or your kiddo want to talk to me about stuff, sure. But I don't coach because I don't have time. And also I just don't feel uh to be qualified enough for said
I
things.
think you're qualified.
But
I
there's
I
a
do I do coach, but I don't coach children. But she can get in touch with you, and also uh, get in touch with me in the comments. And I do know a wonderful actress that does
yeah.
coach voiceovers for children. So let me know, and we'll put you in touch. But you know that feeling that what you're saying, because you are more than qualified. But does that feeling of you know, I get it all the time.
Inadequacy.
Yeah, even, this is my 37th year in voiceover, and I still feel that all the
Oh yeah.
time. Does it feel like it's very real for you, or uh, and if
Yeah.
you have it, do you think it's going to go away?
um yeah, I have it hard and no, it will not go away.
No, thank you. That was,
But
oh, thank you, Kelly. That was encouraging. Well, thanks,
uh,
folks, for coming out
yep,
for
just
YouTube
give up.
tonight.
Um,
Jeez.
but I think being humble and being brought back down to earth
Hmm.
and being a human is good and healthy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Being
so
real.
I, yeah, so I'm okay with not losing that.
Totally.
And I want to say part of this being in voiceover is I'm auditioning, I'm auditioning, I'm auditioning. I heard nothing.
Yeah.
I
It's
did
tough.
hear
It's tough.
something. They told me I didn't get it. Sweet.
Right.
Thank
That's good.
you.
Yeah, I
That
love
was
that. Yeah.
nice.
The nice little
Um,
let me compliment you before I trip you on your face. It's like
right.
it's part of the our biggest job in voiceover is getting told no, getting told that you suck, getting told that you need to get out of the business, getting told that all kinds of
Mhm.
things. And
Just give up.
yeah, and that's not going to happen. You can bring
Uh,
AI to the, we're going to
sure.
survive AI. AI will be there, but it's like, people are just not going to get away from, they're going to always crave the human voice, the human touch. And, that's important. So,
Mhm.
One
Alejandra, she,
second,
she
Connor.
says, what's that?
Go ahead. I didn't realize there was another question. Or
Yeah. Question from Alejandra. She goes, do you voice over in different languages for Spanish, for example?
I do not. I speak bad French, and it's so bad I don't even. I'm afraid to even read. I can read French better than speak it, and that's
Gotcha.
probably because I'm afraid of sucking.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, which would talk about what we were going to talk about. Beau, what were you going to say? What was your question?
Well, we talked about AI in our last pod. I wanted to get Kelly's opinion on some of the tools
Mm,
that have come out
Mm.
and how she's seeing that shaping the industry.
Well, that's funny because I mean, I just watched your guys's one of your podcasts. You were
well,
talking
thank
about
you.
this. Yeah, I'll share it with everyone, including my mom. Hi, mom.
Haha.
Um, and I'll have production companies. I had one just email me and ask me like, "Hey, what's your opinion?" Like, just open
Mm,
question,
yeah.
just to try to grasp, just to try to see what's the word on the street. Do people still say that? I did. Heyo. But my long-winded answer, I see AI as technology, which it is. I get that, but it's just another part of the technology.
Hmm.
Does it scare me? Yeah, sure. Hashtag I'm getting old and stuff, and technology scares me.
I'm a Luddite.
Yes, but I bring my phone, uh, Pokemon. But when I ask Siri to like do something, I usually just give up and I'll do it myself because it's
Yeah.
the
Right.
AI isn't where I need it to be
Yeah.
Kelly,
functional.
it's
Well, like,
because you have to
Oh,
say Alexis or Alexa, not Siri.
oh,
oh,
You switch
gotcha.
phones from Apple to Samsung, and it totally screws
yeah.
the world.
Oh,
Well,
That's me
I
trying to be funny.
thank you. I asked Alexa the other
While
day.
you're
It was
at
it was it was raining here, and I said, Alexa, do you think it's going to rain tonight? And she goes, "There's 0% chance, and it's raining cats and dogs." It
it.
was like, oh, this is great. This is right where
mm,
we need to be. It just as accurate as if I predicted the weather, which is great. I didn't even pass multiplication table, so there we go.
yeah. So when I'm getting answers like that, it mostly just drives me crazy.
Hmm.
Um, but um, it has a place. It I've talked to while I'm trying to market, while I'm trying to get those auditions that I don't land, uh I've heard feedback of, oh, we just use AI voices. And uh and I haven't heard that a lot, but to me that was a piece of information that, oh, they are so low budget that I don't even want to work with
Yeah.
them.
Why? But exactly.
So,
That is true.
and perks of having kids. I have a 10-year-old who will watch videos or YouTube videos, and he hates the AI voices, and he just tunes them out. He's like, I can't function, I can't focus.
A
So
10-year-old. Yeah. So there you go.
so and I've heard the AI voices, and it's like nails on a chalkboard.
It is.
I can't
Yeah.
stand it. So it's a new piece of technology. Technology is always changing.
Right.
I'm doing my part to protect myself, and I'm hoping that laws and regulations catch up along with other laws and regulations. But it's I'm not that worried just because I don't want to work with extremely low budgets, and I don't want to work with commercials that have no feelings, that don't sound like a real person or that sound like a robot.
Hmm.
I think I've auditioned for a robot before. That was fun. Unless I'm being a robot.
Right. Isn't it funny that we're still perceiving it, people think of a robot as, talking like C3PO or,
Right.
very stilted. And
Mm-hmm.
even the AIs for the most part are stilted, even though it can sound kind of like Morgan Freeman, maybe
Mm-hmm.
on a hot day or maybe a cold, uh,
Sure.
there's no doubt AI is getting there. And you're right. It will go to people with the lower budgets. With the advent of the automobile, the horse did not go away. It just put them to a different type of a class, and we think of them in a different way. But we still have
Mm-hmm.
horses. It's like, yeah, I have no doubts that voiceovers are here to stay for humans.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be those that there's people that drive Hyundais and Dodges and Chevrolets, and there's
Sure.
other people that drive Mercedes and Rolls Royce and BMW. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone has a different budget. Some people shop at Target, other people shop at the Five and Under store. It just varies.
Well,
Right.
there's
And
two things.
horses are expensive, so yeah.
there's two things I'm hearing. One is that, AI might have a place if you're on a budget constraint. The other thing is that there's a human element that AI just can't replace yet. And I don't think after our last pod that we talked about this, Connor, I walked away with that thinking that, we're kind of overly terrified of AI. Whereas the reality is, I think it's just giving us some tools to enhance what we do and make it just that much better. I mean, our podcast is a great example between the artwork and the editing and a lot of that stuff. We use a ton of AI tools. And, I don't know as if we would have been able to have the same quality 2 years ago.
Without a doubt. I mean, it's completely true. It's like there's a lot that we use AI for, and I think you either have to like it or get mowed over by it. It's like you have to know the ins and outs of it and how best it can serve you. And so I totally agree with your answer as well, Kelly. It's like
Exciting time to be alive.
what?
It is an exciting time to be alive.
Oh, exciting!
Exciting.
Exit stage left, even.
Oh, don't even go there. I used to do that.
Sucker succotash.
Suffering, yeah.
Asshole, even.
Wait.
Snagglepuss. I'm going to drown. Get wet, even.
Woo! Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Well, we're rounding up our hour. Any final thoughts, comments, anything we can push for you, Kelly?
Yeah, well, where can
they
they reach you? Yeah.
Oh, well, all my info, my demos, my email, my socials, you can they're all on my website, kellywilsonvo.com. And yeah, if you want to hire me. I'm sorry, what?
I'll put a link in the description.
Heyo. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
if you want to hire me, I'm down. If you need an audition, heyo. Or if you just want to say hi, that's cool too. So,
Very
yeah.
cool. By the way, Alejandra, she has a question. We don't have time to get to it, unfortunately. She wants to know how the pricing works. That's a very involved answer. So I would suggest reaching out to Kelly at kellywilsonvo.com and ask her about her pricing. So if anyone's interested, by the way, we do this every Wednesday night and we do it live, right, Beau?
Yep, absolutely. So when I make a fool or a mistake of myself, then we get to edit that in post. But you guys get to catch it firsthand on the
That's
first.
right. Our live studio audience.
Awesome.
Kelly, you were amazing. Thank you so much for adding a little bit of flavor and insight at the nuggets that you shared.
A little flavor flav.
I'm gonna get a necklace and everything. Thank you very much for having me. I've had a lot of fun. Probably more fun than I've had in a couple of years now. I don't know what that means about me, but seriously, thank you.
You
This
need to
is
get out
cool.
more often.
Yeah, I do. But
You really
but
do,
thank
yeah.
you very much. And I even learned some stuff.
What?
Which you taught me some stuff, Mr.
Oh,
Connor.
please.
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This has been great. Connor, next week we got Anthony coming back. We have Ayman Saman coming on, another
What?
special guest.
Very cool. That's
Excited
just
about that.
amazing. Yeah, it's just this podcast. I don't know if we've mentioned it, but our subscribers, we want to thank you. We started out with, of course, like all channels, we have very little in the way of subscribers, and now where are we? Well, I mean, we must be up there.
We just passed 8,000, and
Oh my
we're on
Lord.
That's
episode
awesome.
5. This
Thank
is
you.
episode 5. So yeah, thank you for our supporters, and thank you for people that find this interesting, like I did. I think some of the stories, the insight behind the scenes, and the reality check that you guys give us with the knowledge and insight that you bring to the table is something that most of us are looking for when we're interested in this this field. So anyways, thank you so
Absolutely.
much, guys. I'll let you all go. Till next time, we'll see you next Wednesday. Connor, Kelly, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Beau.